Welcome to My Dad is Grumpy as Shit. I am your host, Jay Cotto. And in today's segment, I do want to discuss imagery and images of how people perceive you or once perceived you. Um, I have the pleasure of kind of having old friends, on social media, like most of us do. Um, and the beauty in that, the beauty there's it's negativity and there's beauty in it. The beauty in is you touch base with a lot of people that you forgot about, a lot of people that you really enjoyed talking to, and a lot of people that you're like, oh man, what have you been up to, that kind of touch base thing. And that's great. Like, social media is fantastic for that, we all know that. But some of the negatives behind that are you haven't touched base with these people for eons. And their image of how you once were is not who you are now. Now there are cases of people just not changing. They're the same motherfucker that they were 20 years ago, right? You have that. You have that. But one of the things I do want to discuss is the fact that, as when I was young and a teenager or whatever, we did a lot of stupid things. A lot of us have done that. A lot of us have um done so many silly and stupid things and carried on in ways that just were like, dude, even myself, like when I reflect on it, as fun as it was, and yes, I was young, I can always chalk it up to, oh, I was young, I just did whatever, you know. Um, but at the same time, I've also grown tremendously. And I feel like sometimes when you communicate with certain people, and it's a loose conversation, or if somebody just reaches out, hey, just touching base to see how you've been or whatever, they communicate in a way that what they remember of you and how they communicate with you is kind of like along the lines of what they feel you might still be like. And the truth of that is a lot of us have grown in a way that we're no longer the same people. We value things differently. We do things differently. And it's almost unfortunate because, you know, I'm pretty sure that I have people on my social media who think I'm the same knucklehead as I was when I was, 17, 18 years old. Just because I may like the same music, or I put up pictures of comedy things that, that may seem immature. And yeah, for the most part, I have a sense of humor, and I think I have a great sense of humor. So yes, there is a level of immaturity because I feel like life shouldn't be that serious all the time. But that is not a reflection of who I am right now. And I feel like, there are, and I'm sure we all have it. I mean, pay attention to it now. Now that I'm saying it, if you are watching this, pay attention to it. You'll see how people communicate with you, and how they communicate. You'll have a little more attention to that and realize that they're communicating with you in a way that lacks growth. They don't believe that you may have become someone else. They think you're the same shithead as you were when you were 16. Right. And so some of us were better shitheads at 16 than others, but I'm going to tell you right now, I wasn't always the greatest guy. But again, people's visions of you sometimes will always be that, and they'll never separate that. But it's also a pleasure to have a communication with those people and communicate with them in a way that you start to show growth in that conversation. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It's just how the conversation flows. And you can kind of see where the growth comes in. And you start to see where sometimes their responses might be like, oh, wow, I didn't know, or I didn't know this, or wow, that's amazing. So different from when you were younger, right? And that is one of the biggest takeaways in life that I have, that I feel honored by. I feel honored by the fact that, yeah, I'm not the same person that you remember. I'm far, far better than I was. I've learned so much from all the experiences that I had, from childhood up until now. Uh, Regardless of what you may have thought about me then, you may have thought that, oh, he's never going to amount to shit. He's never going to have um, a lifestyle worth a quality lifestyle. But the truth is like I said before, in pretty much almost all my vlogs, podcasts, whatever you want to call this, um, I've been married for 20 years. I have 4 children. I own a home. So I've surpassed whatever but what anybody's thought was of me then. So the goal of this conversation, I'm guessing, it's kind of loose, but the goal of this conversation is just basically there's always growth. There's always time for growth. There's always room for growth. Don't ever feel like you're stuck. Don't ever feel like you're never going to be what people expect you to be. And it's not your job to be what people expect you to be. It's your job to be the best version of yourself at any point in time. And if people don't if their perception of you doesn't grow or change once that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is, like I said, to be the best possible version of yourself that you could be as you get older. And that's your job, is to be the best possible human being, period. However you get there, get there. So again, with the negativity involved with people viewing you a certain way and not really expecting you to have that growth, the beauty is you can prove them wrong. You can prove to them that you are far more than what they have ever anticipated that you would ever become, and have a sense of pride in it. So with that being said, I'm Jay Cotto. Do what you do it well, do it the best way you know how. I am out.